Do you ever think about the weird Chaos-themed costumes Havoc's followers were given in Chaos Reigns and how inconsistent the distribution was? Some characters received brand new outfits with distinct colour schemes while others got recolours of existing costumes in a uniform palette, which aren't even original designs being pulled from Season 4 of Invasions. So what gives? I started thinking about this when I really considered that Chaos Geras is a recolour of his Union of Light costume. Given his prominence, you'd think he'd be given a unique design, especially over one-scene wonders like the Deadly Alliance. Or that they'd at least recolour his evil self for it. Then I realised what the reason for the weird distribution is. It's about who has a base game costume that isn't already prominent in the main story mode. Think about it. Geras' Order of Darkness form is present in several cutscenes alongside his master, while the Union of Light version, outside of large crowd shots, has no presence there at all beyond its use for fusion fighters like Quantum Chi and Crocodile. Therefore, they were able to recolour that costume and have it feel fairly new in the story. The Sorcerers, meanwhile, have their dark forms as the final bosses, and their light forms have a standout moment where they fight and die. Recolours wouldn't feel unique, so they get brand new designs. And that's how it mostly goes. If their light and dark counterparts are both prominent in a story scene already, they get a new costume, but if not, they get a recolour. Let's go over them, shall we? Chaos Raiden is one of the exceptions since both God Raiden and Dark Raiden are prominent in cutscenes, so they went with Union of Light because the robe is generic enough to look different with a new palette. Chaos Baraka is Union of Light. Dark Baraka is fought in Chapter 14, while Light Baraka is only in crowd shots. Chaos Ermac is something of an enigma, fittingly. He uses his base design just with the playable form's mask added, meaning that this mask is only canonical in Havoc's timeline. What makes this odd is that Ermac does have light and dark costumes in crowd shots, but they're not in the game yet for whatever reason. Maybe they've just not set up the mask for them yet, and they didn't want to show his face again after all the backlash. Chaos Reptile is Order of Darkness. While prominent in a scene or two, he does spend a lot of it in his lizard form. Plus, I think this is acknowledgement that Light Reptile's Foxhound sneaking suits was a bad idea because it could have been used but they opted not to. Chaos Ashra is Union of Light, which I think actually has more screen time than Order of Darkness. Odd. Chaos Nitara is Union of Light because Dark Nitara gets a prominent moment in Chapter 14, while Light Nitara is only in crowd shots and optionally playable in Chapter 15. Chaos Sindel likewise couldn't be Dark Sindel because she gets a major moment in Chapter 12. Light Sindel is playable in Chapter 15, but being an optional appearance outside of crowd shots, she was the best choice. Chaos Xiao is in the exact same boat, save for Dark Xiao's prominence being in Chapter 13 instead. Li Mei and Reiko got unique designs because they have their own backstory divorced from Havoc. They have no Chaos incarnations. Kitana and Melina got Maze Runner design. Maze Runner? Fucking Maze Runner. Kitana and Melina got Maze Hunter designs. Light Kitana is especially prominent in the main story's endgame, so a recolour of her would stand out. Light Melina is easier to justify, but I imagine they thought giving them matching outfits was the better choice, and I have to agree. Chaos Johnny Cage is barely seen, but he's base Johnny. Light Johnny is prominently featured alongside Janet and Ninja Mime in Chapter 15. Darkness Johnny is, I think, in a crowd shot somewhere, but they went for this. I imagine it's because base Johnny is just in a shirt and trousers, which is generic enough to work. Well, that's all because Darkness Johnny never got a Chaos palette from Invasions while base Johnny did. That might actually be the reason for all of these now that I think about it. Whatever, let me have this. Chaos Kung Lao is also base, since both Light and Dark Kung Lao are prominent in Chapter 14. Maybe it's because Light Lao didn't get as extensive a makeover as base Lao did from Invasions. Chaos Rain exists despite him and Tanya getting new costumes anyway. This is Light Rain without his mask because Dark Rain is fought in Chapter 13. Light Rain is only in crowd shots and playable in Chapter 15. Chaos Liu Kang is Union of Light since I don't think he's even in any crowd shots, appearing exclusively as the playable Liu Kang of Chapter 15, while Dark Liu Kang is fought to close out Chapter 14. Chaos Sector and Cyrax are, of course, their base forms, i.e. the only costumes they currently have, with different helmets, which works well enough. Chaos Scorpion and Sub-Zero are Union of Light since their dark versions are fought in Chapter 13, while Light Scorpion is only in crowd shots and Light Sub-Zero is playable in Chapter 15. Chaos Kenshi is actually, I'm pretty sure, one of the fusion fighters being half Liu Kang, but they dropped that idea and just made him a Havoc timeline Kenshi in Chaos Reigns. Chaos Takeda was then added to match him, possibly because his base form appears in Chapter 15. Smoke, Tanya, Reiko, Li Mei and Noob Saibot are the only characters without Havoc timeline variants in the story. Noob is the only fighter without a Havoc makeover in the game at all. Now, while I think some of this is down to the fact that Invasions took a long time to start adding Order of Darkness seasonal palettes outside of Kombat League, a new Chaos palette is still less work than a full-blown new design. They didn't have to assign new costumes to those they did. They could have given them to more prominent foes like Sub-Zero or Geras instead of the Sorcerers. I think some of this lack of prominence theory does still stand. But let's imagine it was you assigning the new designs. Which 7 or so characters would have new costumes in your version, assuming Havoc, Kenshi and Takeda's need to stay? I'd drop Quan Chi, Shang Tsung, Rain and Tanya, using Chaos palettes and Union of Light costumes instead for Geras, Sector, Cyrax and Ermac. But what about you? What would you decide? And do you think your version would have made the expansion sell well enough to not kill future content for the game? Thanks, David. Look, I forgot to record the ending bit. You know the drill already by this point. Patreon, suffer along with you. Today's recommended video in a minute. Look, I'm putting in more effort than NetherRealm did with the palettes, leave me alone.